I apologize ahead of time, but you're my collective therapist tonight. I'm presenting a scenario, a story I've never talked about except ad nauseum to my husband, and my children, and my mother, and anyone who is close enough to pick up the phone. I just experienced something in the last 7 months that was extremely unpleasant and very upsetting. And it isn't a Me Too story, but because everybody here and in the world just went through this whole Kavanaugh bullshit and the trauma of the last 2 years, if in fact you do feel trauma, I've been trying to figure out how what I just went through fits into this overall framework of what we're dealing with in terms of relationships between men and women and power relationships. And ultimately I concluded that it doesn't really fit, but instead it's just a story about me standing up for myself and saying, stop the bullshit when it comes to being bullied. And in this case, my bully was a woman. I had a really good career for about 25 years as a city planning researcher. And I put it on pause in 2008 when I got married because I have 3, they were my step daughters, and now they're my adopted daughters. And now actually I have 2 adopted daughters, and now one of my daughters has become my son. And it turns out once you agree to marry somebody's father, they think you're actually going to be around and be their mom. So I've spent the last 10 years being a parent, and I put my career on hold, but I did keep a toe in the water. I did a bunch of consulting, and I do a lot of freelance writing. And so it's not like I have been out of the game, but I don't know about things so much like Dropbox and Salesforce and all the crap that seems to be part of everyday life in offices kind of escapes me. But anyway, we needed health insurance, and so I decided I needed to get a full-time job, and I set my sights on Northwestern University as being the perfect employer for me, because I wanted to have a job that was stimulating but not overwhelming. I didn't want to have to make time at 4:30 in the morning to freak out like I used to, worrying about getting all my work done. I just wanted it to be a contained job that maybe required a little brain activity, maybe not. I'm not above collating. So I said, I'll do whatever it is you want me to do as long as you give me health insurance. So I applied for like 10 or 12 jobs at Northwestern. I'm like, what the fuck, why won't you hire me? You go through this application process and you just never hear back from them. And I was really getting irritated. And then I got an interview at one of the research centers, and I should probably use Pig Latin, and I don't really want to, I kind of want to out this person, but I kind of don't. But if I tell you her name or the center, then it's really out there. But I'm not going to do that yet because there might be lawyers involved. Anyway, at the interview, I had a couple of red flags go up, like being asked, how do you deal with difficult people? And I have a standard spiel for that question. Like, no, I mean really difficult people. I'm like, okay. And then how do you feel about working for a first-time manager? And I was like, no big deal. So I met the woman who was to become my supervisor, and she was really cool. She had like a I'm with her Hillary sign on her wall, and she had a really good sense of humor, and she just seemed kind of easygoing. And then she pushes up the arms of her sweater, and she has this tattoo that sealed the deal. We're going to be best friends. It said, not easily offended, on her arm. I'm thinking, this woman left her house and went to a tattoo parlor and had ink injected into her arm, making a commitment to being open-minded and not easily offended. That is saying something. I don't even have a tiny little heart. You're with Hillary, I'm with you. You're awesome. So I thought, I worked from home all those years. I thought, well, maybe I'll get a friend. Maybe I'll have a new work friend. This will be good. So the job started, and I sensed trouble right away. This woman, her name is Jay, or it is tonight. She sent me like 30 or 40 emails a day. And I gotta tell you, the portfolio of this research center was about the size of a fucking ping pong ball. They had so little going on compared to places I'd worked before. They had like 2 big meetings a year, a couple of visiting professor speeches a month, and then they like put a lot of energy into putting out a member directory. And there was a little website, and I couldn't figure out what all the angst was about. So I'm like, don't worry, I got this, I'm gonna help you. I'm not climbing, I'm not going up anywhere in my career here, I'm just here to work. But she, like the 3rd day or so, she goes, I'm not hearing back from you on my emails. I require that you respond to every single email. And there's a lot of them, and they're like, okay, even the ones that I don't have to act on, right? She says, yeah. So over the weeks, I'm like, I ran out of ways to say, okay, got it. Sounds good. Okie dokie, roger that. Duly noted. Thumbs up. And then K or KK. And then there are other emails that actually required me to do something. There was like bold and italics and red type and yellow type and highlights. And she's a graphic designer. I'm like, okay, dude, not easily offended. Let me tell you, the first rule about graphic design is you don't confuse the eye. My eye's like, I don't even know what's important here. There's so many priorities in this email, I don't know what, should I focus on the bold, should I focus on the highlight? So, anyway, the first really bad thing that happened was that I emailed this guy, by the way, there's 5 people in this office total. And it was, I'm working for like American Airlines or something massive, in terms of this hierarchy. And so I emailed this guy who worked there, like 20 feet from me. I was like, hi Bill, it's Marya. Can you give me some contact information for this member? This little center has members, company members and individual members. And I copied Jay, because I was supposed to, and she comes flying around our office a couple minutes later. She's like, you have to thank Bill. I'm like, thank you for what? He answered your email. I say, I just sent it. Like, yeah, he answered. Like, okay, I'll sit down. No, you have to go. You have to thank him right now. Like, in person, no. Sit down at your desk and thank him for responding to your email. Like, this was like the span of 5 minutes. And I'm like, if she could read what was going on in my head, like, you're fucking nuts. But, okay, thank you, Bill. And he writes back, you're welcome. So I'm like, okay, so he's part of the cult. And then there's a big meeting coming up, and I was in charge of writing the name badges and the table tents. And the meeting was like 12 weeks away. She said, you gotta get going on those badges. I'm like, we don't know who's coming. And she's like, no, you make badges for the invitees, and then we just don't use the ones for the people that don't come. I said, I don't really think that makes sense, because in my experience writing meetings before, we would just wait till we see who's coming, and we'd make them a badge and make them a table tent. She's like, I don't remember asking for your input. Okay. So I made the badges, and she looked at them, and she's like, comes to my desk, she goes, Tom, Bill, Andy, Jim, Mike, what are those? My guy's names. She goes, those are nicknames. These are CEOs. These are high-level people. You use their full name. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I didn't know, because I was drawing from existing sources of the names of the members, and I thought if it said, John McEnroe, it should be John McEnroe, or Jim McEnroe. It should be Jim McEnroe, not James McEnroe. But I'll go back and change them. And then in like mid-April, she's going into a meeting with the guy who runs the center, who's there like 10% of the time. And she said, he's not going to be happy about how it's going with the badges. And the meeting's still like 9 weeks away. And I'm like, well, you know, tell them I'm doing my best here. And she came out of the meeting and she comes around and she like attempts to like side hug me. She's like, I'm so sorry, he stresses me out so bad and I'm taking all my stress on you. I feel really sorry, I apologize. And then she disappears and she comes out of her office with her coffee cup and she goes, this is wine. I'm like, oh, it's 11:30. That's not weird. And she's like, would you like some wine? I'm like, no, it's 11:30. I haven't had lunch yet. And she's like, again, I want to apologize for stressing you out because, you know, it filters down. I'm like, cool. Like, let's just not let that happen again, okay? And then things came to a head in early May. She said, I want to see in your I want to see you in my office at such and such a time. And I sit down and she goes, do you want this job? Because you're sure not acting like it. And I'm like, which of the minor transgressions are we talking about here that you're struggling with? And she said, I think you know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, is it the nicknames? No, it's not the nicknames. They have to do with Bill? It's like, no, Bill likes you. It's the coffee cups. There had been a meeting in the conference room and I'd left 2 used coffee cups in there. And under no circumstances should coffee cups ever be left there overnight because God forbid one of the 5 of us might see them the next morning. So I said, okay, are we good? And she said, no, I'm serious. I don't think you're a good fit for this job. You don't take me seriously. On and on and on. I'm like, I'm getting really upset. I'm gonna leave now and go back to my desk and we can talk about this later. And I went and I called HR and I said, I'm in a real pickle here because this woman is fucking nuts. Can I have somebody meet with us the next time I have to meet with her one-on-one? Just because we're not speaking the same language. You know, I'm trying to use like business speak. Maybe if I could loop in someone from HR. You know. And so they're like, sure, we can do that. And then there was like this silence coming from Joan, and she started to put Post-its on her door that said, "Not now," or "Email only." And you know, again, there's like no traffic, no outside people coming in this office. There's 5 total human beings on any given, at most. And like, who are you expecting? You know, what do you think is going to happen? So I go to the meeting at HR. I walk in. Jay is already there, and the HR lady hands me a written warning that Jay has written. It says, Marya is incapable of following her supervisor's most basic instructions on the most simple of tasks. Marya did not follow simple instructions to use members' informal first names, instead choosing to use their full names. I'm like, hold on, you freaked out about the nickname. She said, I freaked out about their full names. Like, okay, let's go back to the emails. Anyway, on around April 24th, Marya left an empty cardboard box in the conference room. On or around April 26th, Marya left 2 dirty coffee cups in the conference room. Marya demonstrates unprofessional behavior by using sarcasm. Guilty. In a reply to her she kept referring to herself as Marya's supervisor. She was referring to herself in the 3rd person. In replying to an email to her supervisor, Marya wrote out the words, "Insert thumbs up emoji here," rather than simply inserting the thumbs up emoji. Which is true, because as I said, I'd run out of replies to these fucking emails, so I wrote, "Insert thumbs up emoji." I thought I was being funny. So I said to I call her, I've got 3 HR people, I call this one Fancy HR Lady because she wore like business suits. I I said to fancy HR lady, how did this meeting, which I requested to rescue my soul from this woman, turn into this being confronted with a written warning? And she said, Jay says, I've been planning to write this for quite some time. I'm like, I only worked here for 2 months. Like, do you have it in for me from day one? So after that meeting, we got a couple new ground rules. She promised to cut down on the emails, and I promised to stop taking her tattoos seriously. Actually, what I told her in a fit of anger was, how about the other one that says, sweat the small stuff? And she was like, that's exactly what I'm talking about as far as the sarcasm. So we had a new system where we met on Monday. She gave me all my assignments for the week, and then I had to go back to my desk, type up what I had just been assigned, and send it to her, and then she would reply to me telling me that I either got it right or I didn't get it right. And this is the kind of stuff that I wrote in those emails. Is that B? Mm-hmm. Okay. Jay has instructed me to make sure the subject lines of my emails are brief and relevant. I will work to ensure that in the future, that my email subject lines are brief and relevant. Jay has instructed me not to include ampersands in any company name. I will work to ensure that I do not include ampersands in any company name. I started walking in the building and breaking out in hives instantaneously. Then we had a game of let's find the typo. She dropped a mailing list on my desk and said, fix this. And for the life of me, I could not figure out what the typo was. It turns out I'd left out the Y in Reykjavik, Iceland. So that went in the second written warning. Then the power went out one day, and I was looking at my phone, and she said, why don't you make better use of the university's money and go clean out the storage closet? So anyway, that ends up in the second written warning. Yada, yada, yada. April 28th, I got to work, and not so fancy HR lady was there. Jay was there, and they came in and said, your employment at Northwestern University is hereby terminated effective immediately. And I'm like, that's great. That's just great. $2,000 a month for health insurance. On the other hand, maybe I won't have hives, maybe my blood pressure will go down, and maybe I won't shit my pants at my desk again. But it's not over. It's not over. I wrote a 11-page, very detailed appeal. The senior HR person, the dean of the School of Engineering, Morty Shapiro, the president of the university, he got a copy. And I'm waiting to hear back what happens. And then today, as punctuation on the story, I opened a letter from the Illinois Department of Employment Security and found that I've been found ineligible for my unemployment benefits because I've engaged in extreme misconduct on the job.
Oh.
So sarcasm will get you nowhere. Thank you.
Oh.